Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves has just backed a Medicaid extension for moms who just gave birth. Now that might seem, a little different for a Republican lawmaker, or Republican governor in this case. But the problem is that his endorsement of the Medicaid extension seemed to actually be a secret message to shut down the proposal. So let's get to the details, what happened. So previously, the state of Mississippi had granted women who had just given birth 2 months, just 2 months of postpartum Medicaid coverage. But when the federal government first declared COVID-19 to be a public health emergency back in 2020, Mississippi extended that coverage to last an entire year. Now, COVID's status as a national health emergency will expire in May, and unless Mississippi lawmakers act, by the way, that includes lawmakers in other states as well, the extended Medicaid coverage will also expire. Now, Reeves technically wrote in favor of keeping the extended coverage yesterday, but pay attention to how many times his message contradicts itself, okay? So let's go to the first graphic here. Here's Tate Reeves. To be perfectly honest, I haven't been swayed by the data that is at best incomplete and at worst often misconstrued and mischaracterized by the more government benefits no matter the cost crowd. However, the fact is we live in a post-Dobbs world. We, as Mississippi conservatives, led the charge to end Roe v. Wade, and I couldn't be more proud of that victory. I also believe that added stress will be felt by more Mississippi moms. We have to love them. Now, let me be clear. Before he released this statement, he was against extending the Medicaid coverage. All of a sudden, he backpedaled. We can speculate as to why in just a moment, but let me give you more from his statement. He says, we may even have to be willing to do things that make us philosophically uncomfortable. Yeah, like providing healthcare coverage to new moms, I guess. I'm willing to do that. As I've said many times, it will not be easy and it will not be free, but it will be worth it as more children of God are brought into the world.
Oh, all of a sudden you found the children of God.
Interesting, yeah. Could it be because there's an election coming up?
Yeah, so the main point of this story, guys, is everyone's a progressive right before the election, right? Afterwards, they talk about cutting your spending that goes to you, cutting any benefits that go to you, cutting taxes for the rich, right? But right before an election, even the Republican governor of Mississippi is like, oh, Medicaid, oh, I'm pro-life. That's why I want to take care of the baby after it's born. But then why have you been opposed to it your entire career? And by the way, it's all a trick, of course. He puts a giant asterisk on it. He says, if the legislature gets to my desk, then I'll vote for it. Oh, but is the deeply conservative legislature of Mississippi gonna get it to his desk? Hell no. No, that gets blocked in the Mississippi House every time. There's an enormously right-wing leader for the Republicans in the House, and he would never allow any Mississippi citizen to be helped by the government of Mississippi.
Philip Gunn, House Speaker Philip Gunn.
Yeah, Philip Gunn's one of the worst people. Okay, so of course, Tate's like, oh yeah, college even gets to my desk, then all of a sudden I'll care about the moms of Mississippi. So why is he panicking all of a sudden? He's losing by 4 to a Democrat in Mississippi. That's how unpopular he is. And get a load of this amazing fact. 60% of the kids born in Mississippi are born into a family that uses Medicaid. 60%. So now, why is he having to change his position to a progressive position because he's down 4? Well, because he now, can we be honest? Can we be real here? Because now white people are using it in Mississippi at rates. They've always used it. They've always used it more than black people, but as a percentage, okay? As a percentage are using it so much in Mississippi that he's like, oh, I can't call them welfare queens anymore. I can't demagogue about it anymore because my own voters are using it. Oops, I'm gonna have to pretend to be progressive.
A lot of poor white people in this country.
Yep.
Especially in states like Mississippi. Now, with that said, I do want to note that just 2 weeks ago, he did not have a strong stance on it. In fact, he refused to issue an opinion on whether or not it should be extended for a full year. The postpartum Medicaid expansion, what I've said in the past and continue to say today, is the data is incomplete at best. Really, is the data really that incomplete? What data are you referring to? The fact that 60% of children are born into families that rely on Medicaid? Anyway, I think it's something that they're working on in the legislature, and I think they should continue to work on it. We don't have great data. So again, that's an issue we're continuing to work on. It's just, this country's a joke, man. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
And look.
And real quick, remember the Affordable Care Act allocated federal funding for state Medicaid. And a lot of southern states in particular refuse that Medicaid money, right? It's just their ideology. They're against helping their own constituents. And you know what? Medical debt in the South particularly is sky high. There's a huge gap between northern states and the medical debt represented there and southern states and the explosion of medical debt in those states because of the fact that those states did not expand their Medicaid programs for so long.
Well, now time for another stunning fact. So look, the red states generally do way worse than the blue states in almost every category. So that's why it's always hilarious when like red state legislators are like, oh yeah, we want a national divorce. Or Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's in a blue state, right? Oh, we want a national divorce, so good. We don't want any of the blue states. Really, because Mississippi's near the bottom, like usually 48th to 50th on every category. Poverty,
life expectancy,
maternal death, education, you name it. The states that have been run longest by Republicans are the ones that are always in the absolute worst shape, okay? So look, that's a fact, and you could look it up and you could say, oh yeah, but there was like a 3-year window that a Democratic state didn't do as well. And by the way, there's plenty of problems in the Democratic blue states too, and largely because of our institutionalized corruption, right? But the red states have done miserably because of Republican rule, that's a fact. But guys, the Medicaid issue is larger than Mississippi or red states. Stunning fact number 2 is now 50% of all kids born in the entire country are born into Medicaid. 50%. Oh my God, I couldn't believe that fact when I read it today. Okay, so what is and why has that happened? And this is where you'll never see this anywhere else. It's happened because companies have realized we pay them so little, don't worry, that way we don't have to pick up their health care, we'll unload it on the government.
That's right.
Okay, and Walmart kind of invented this trick, and now almost all the big companies are using it. Okay, I'm gonna pay you poverty wages, so you're literally in poverty and have to go get Medicaid for your health care. So the answer to all of this isn't any of this nonsense about extending Medicaid for a little longer. I mean, yes, they should. Yes, the red states should use it when it's offered, etc. But you have to have universal health care like all other developed civilized countries. There's a reason why they all do it, and we're the only ones that don't do it. It's the corruption here is so rampant. But no, those larded up companies that are the drug companies, the pharmaceuticals industry, the health insurance companies, they're robbing us blind with the help of the United States government. Yes, Republicans, but also corporate Democrats that will not pass Medicare for all or any other universal health care under penalty of law. The Joe Bidens, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, they hate it because they work for corporations. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.